Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. I would like to start my remarks on the resumption of the budget debate by expressing my concerns about, firstly, the impact of coronavirus on businesses in our country, secondly, an increased debt of 83.5% of GDP, and thirdly, a debt of approximately 60 billion on our balance sheet. Mr. Speaker, sir, this is a budget of two halves. That is a response both to coronavirus and the longer-term issues with regards to our national debt, support to our small and medium enterprises, protecting jobs, and helping those sectors such as tourism, textile, which are the most affected. I am afraid I cannot agree with the description of the Minister of Finance about our economy, giving the impression that all was very cozy until coronavirus hit us. Sadly, before the crisis began, our economy was flatlining with a sovereign debt of 67.3% of our national GDP, when in December a rescue package of 18 billion rupees from the Bank of Mauritius was requested to pay debts. Our export had decreased, foreign investors were getting scarce, and our growth rate was only 3.3%. Our debt is expected to be 83.5% of GDP. And sadly, every child has his share of 350,000 rupees debt. Mr. Speaker, sir, our economy was already sick well before COVID-19, and arguably so, it went into intensive care, like many other economics, with a projected recession of 5.8% of our GDP. However, unlike other economics, for example, South Africa, European countries, their government ensured that they take the proper remedial actions to rekindle the economy and that their central bank would be their lender of the last resort. Through government-adjusted fiscal policies to create wealth, protect employment, stimulate business, and controlling inflation rate and stabilizing their national debt. Here, it was done largely through a generous donation by the Bank of Mauritius to mop the budget deficit of nearly 60 billion rupees. Our government also had a major intravenous supply of serum from the central bank to balance the account of debt and expenses, now called balance account, and using a very innovative treatment called the Mauritius Investment Corporation to help with 80 billion rupees to help among those to project of national importance to the country. Hopefully, pas d'autres éléphants blancs. Mr. Speaker, sir, inequality in our country continues to grow, yet we see no real intent from government to close the gap, and it is the people in areas such as mine, in my constituency, that would lose once again. There is no structural plan of housing for the low-income households in specific areas of my constituency, no plans how to bring the marginalized in employment, and to tackle the issue of drugs, which is a major concern in many parts of the country. Mr. Speaker, sir, I do not feel that the budget is fit to address the specific problems we face as a society, particularly a rising debt, increased unemployment, be it short-term, long-term, or seasonal, risk of business closure, depreciation of our currency against the dollar and other foreign currencies, increase in the prices of basic commodities by greater than 25%. The price of milk and butter have gone up by nearly 35%. The loss of confidence of foreign investors due to our recent grey listing by the European Commission, coupled with the recent Bank of African Development disclosure of shady and unethical practices in our tender procedures, as evidenced by the P&Q of this morning and its debate, I knew it was extremely painful, as quoted yesterday, for some to listen. Particularly when an excess of 700 million rupees have apparently been squandered by some intermediaries. Is that sort of practice going to give confidence to the European Commission to reconsider our listing on the grey list? I'm sure the Mauritian population has already given its verdict on that one. The one group we must be very mindful of today are the self-employed and those who run small businesses. They were already facing a tough situation in the last 2.5 months, but the self-employed assessment schemes have brought some relief truly. Unfortunately, for those families, their income came entirely from self-employment, and they are asking how they will pay the utility bills accumulated before and those to come in the weeks and months to come ahead with just an allowance of 5,100 rupees. Mr. Speaker, sir, I am sure many of us are confronted by our mandates for the payment of these 3 monthly bills. This is how desperate people are at the present. I echo those who say we must consider every possible way to provide support for those people, and I propose that the payment for utility bills last 3 months be suspended and waived, as it will be tremendous relief to these already difficult households. The spending measures as advocated by the Minister of Finance may keep us out of recession for the immediate future, but it is difficult to feel reassured that our economy is strong enough to cope with the unknown impact of coronavirus. We need to think about the long term. And if we were to adjust life under the coronavirus, as mentioned in the new normal, then we need to look at many different things such as providing free internet for all people in this country who have to work from home, free internet to children who are expected to do their schoolwork at home, irrespective of their social strata. We need to look once again at feeding needy children now with full school meal programs, particularly for those who need it, like the one supplied at ZEP schools. Monsieur le Président, mes collègues de cette côté de la Chambre avaient fait un vraiment appel pour que ces enfants reçoivent une allocation pendant le confinement, afin qu'ils puissent manger à leur faim, car ils dépendent de ces repas gratuits. Mais c'était en vain. Qu'est-ce que cette modique somme aurait coûté dans la balance des paiements gouvernementaux, quand on voit ce matin qu'il y a certains qui prennent 700 millions d'euros et mettent dans leur poche? We also need to look at giving mental health support to adults who have been isolated for 3 months, which have had an impact on domestic violence. Mr. Speaker, sir, the budget must place at its core the small and medium enterprise that are the country's beating heart. It is only by providing financial support schemes can those wealth-creating and job-creating industries develop and flourish. These small and medium enterprises must be a priority of the new MIC in its criteria of distributing 80 billion rupees that have been made available to government by the Bank of Mauritius. What is critical is not how much is spent from the MIC, but how it is spent, and who are going to be the beneficiaries, and what are going to be the criteria to use to hand out millions and billions of rupees to specific companies. Already, some are queuing for the 500 million, 1 billion rupees of rescue package from the MIC. The small medium enterprises must have a fair share as promised. Les SME ne doivent pas être l'enfant pauvre du MIC. Mr. Speaker, sir, I'm now going to talk about the housing proposals. The provision of 12 billion rupees for the construction of 12,000 social housing units across the whole island in another dream, simply because the same promise of 10,000 social housing units during their last mandate never materialized. Let alone only 10% was achieved, without forgetting that some of these houses, its construction had started prior to December 2015. And listening to the speech of the Honorable Minister of Commerce this morning, who tried to defend the poor achievement of promise made in 2015, he based only on the premise that our people are going to have housing of a greater surface area compared to what was promised in prior 2015. Monsieur le Président, toujours au niveau du logement, en analysant la grille de paiement et le montant de subsides pour les différentes catégories dépendant de leur salaire, je me demande comment ceux au fond de l'échelle vont pouvoir contribuer ce 20% pour avoir un décent logement, car ils n'ont même pas de suffisant pour se nourrir et se vêtir convenablement. Ces gens qui vivent dans les bidonvilles, leur finance mensuelle est parfois inférieure à 5 500 qui leur est offert. Je parle de ce que j'ai vu, ce que j'ai ressenti, et ils vivent dans des conditions extrêmement précaires et leur survie est une bataille au quotidien. L'électricité et l'eau sont pour eux un luxe. Vous et moi, Monsieur le Président, nous nous couvrons avec des couettes pour se protéger du froid ce soir. Eux, ils n'ont que de vieux molletons recouverts de plastique, car si jamais il pleut, leur toit est une passoire, et c'est de cette façon qu'ils se protègent des aléas du temps. Je l'ai vu, je l'ai ressenti. Nous devons avoir de l'empathie pour ces gens. Monsieur le Président, la loi doit être respectée, mais l'esprit de la loi demande que l'humanisme, pendant ce temps hivernal et à la veille de la fête des mères, aurait dû primer et trouver des solutions temporaires. Il ne fallait pas les mobiliser brutalement, surtout parmi, il y avait des femmes et des enfants en bas d'âge. I request the Honourable Minister of Housing and Lands, the National Empowerment Foundation and the National Housing Development Corporation to ensure proper diligence in assessment of the squatters in need of social housing, since many of them may need full subsidy together with social support and bring them in the mainstream of society as these families struggle for daily survival. I'm speaking following what I have witnessed and seen in specific areas of my constituency. I am of the opinion that if such capping of contributing only 20%, even at the lowest end of the grid, is a sine qua non criteria, many of them will never have a decent shelter, and squatting will always be the sole alternative, even if that means dormir au clair de la lune. Let's work together so that the fire disaster at Cité Longère in Baie-du-Tombeau serves as a lesson to us all and empowers these communities in having a decent shelter so that we do not have to witness such dramatic scenes on other state lands where squatters have erected whatever they had to have a roof over their head. Mr. Speaker, sir, the agricultural sector, I know that 20,000 of abandoned land will be put on the platform for immediate use. Knowing quite well the history of the land scope and its performance, I expect that the ministry concerned will exercise due authority as to see that transparency prevail, particularly at its outset for bidding, so that tailor-made criteria are not made to give unfair advantage to some, and also to that large state developers do not have easy access for conversion of these land from agriculture to commercial ends, and thus making a big kill. Mr. Speaker, sir, our tourism industry is currently in intensive care, and unless given the right remedies and support, it will have a very painful recovery. The ongoing border closures here and abroad, unemployment and business closures looming ahead, and a decrease in the number of bookings at hotels will not make matters easy. As I mentioned in my opening statement, there is no clear government vision or strategy on how to reform and revitalize the main foreign exchange sector, such as tourism and the manufacturing sector. And surely, till borders are not open again, the tourism industry will not kickstart soon. The only response from government is to exempt the tourist license of 10,000 rupees. And as I rightly pointed out by some in the touristic sector, can 10,000 rupees per operator save the touristic industry from an ongoing agony? Mr. Speaker, sir, the government must pay particular attention to the thousands of employees in that sector, ranging from hotel employees, taxi drivers whose base of operation are hotels only, beach hawkers, small touristic enterprise, les plaisanciers, fishermen, restaurant owners, and those who earn a living in the entertainment world of hotels, like the music industry. It looks like they have all simply been forgotten because the government is more focused through the MIC to support the hotel owners while completely forgetting le petit peuple, whose household depend on a fully revamped, integrated touristic sector amidst the fallout of COVID-19. Mr. Speaker, sir, now going to talk about a very important topic, following the expenses that the MIC might support. The production of pharmaceutical products through the private-public enterprise is definitely a very enviable and highly profitable project for many in the pharmaceutical and medical world. Already blue-eyed boy names are cropping up of those who roam daily the corridors of power to be among the few selected ones. Just remember the American axiom: there is no such thing as a free lunch, and those who have offered their free services for government surely are eyeing these projects. The Minister of Health has to ensure complete fairness and transparency so that it's not a tailor-made project for those who rub on the right side of the green of government, but rather an open, transparent bidding process that will allow only firms having the right experience, expertise, and know-how with proven track record on biosafety, efficacy, and acceptable quality standards. Mr. Speaker, sir, it is very important that the product respect the internationally agreed European Pharmacopoeia, United States Pharmacopoeia, and the British Pharmacopoeia standards, which has been our acceptable specified standard in outsourcing our pharmaceutical products for public hospitals. The proposal to bring Indian Pharmacopoeia is a positive move, and it will go in a long way to break monopolies and decreasing prices. However, the current proposed amendment to include Indian Pharmacopoeia, which is a regional standard and not internationally accredited, must be evaluated carefully and should not be an opportunity as a backdoor entry to allow one particular company to have access to procurement orders. Knowing very well that the Pharmacy Board had rejected many of its products during COVID-19 confinement period, but still that company managed to have its products, including hydroxychloroquine, chloroquine, and azithromycin, accepted. Mr. Speaker, sir, buying Indian Pharmacopoeia will imply it's up to the buyer to ensure that the product meets the quality standards. We are a small country like Mauritius, with no inspection capacity, will find it extremely difficult to ensure quality when procuring drugs from a country where there are more than 35,000 manufacturers and over 200,000 wholesalers. While it is true that in terms of volume, our country buys the largest volume of drugs, excluding public hospitals from India, attention needs to be given to the risk of counterfeit products, non-accredited intermediaries, and therefore pharmacovigilance must be on a high alert. The health and safety of our population is sacred, and government has to be very careful. Mr. Speaker, sir, the lesson of hydroxychloroquine usage in the management of COVID-19 under the umbrella of the WHO Solidarity Trial or informed consent and its then withdrawal of its use due to adverse side effects as reported by a study in The Lancet should have prompted the Minister of Health to come up with a regulatory framework to enable the use of certain medication on trial basis in exceptional circumstances, and also trial of new medication in selected patients, as it is done in developed countries who participate in phase 2 and phase 3 trials. That would have been innovative and benefit those whom their last chances of cure lie in a newer drug and bring some hope to them. Mr. Speaker, sir, the fishermen allowance, as mentioned in the budget, which says targeting the most vulnerable and those at the lower end of the economic ladder. Increasing bad weather allowance by just 60 rupees per day is, in my opinion, an insult to those seasonal self-employed persons. Monsieur le Président, qu'est-ce que 60 roupies additionnelles par jour ajoutent dans votre corbeille ménagère dans le contexte économique que nous vivons? Imaginez ce pêcheur avec sa famille qui doit remplir le ventre le soir. Dis-moi, qu'est-ce que ce pauvre pêcheur peut se dire quand il voit des millions injectés dans des grosses compagnies pour leur donner un coup de pouce à leur économie en détresse? Détresse. Eux qui faisaient des profits en milliards ces dernières années, et lui qui n'a que 60 roupies en plus par jour et que pour quelques jours. A decent daily rate of 500 rupees or more, considering the depreciation of the rupee, must at least be offered to them. Mr. Speaker, sir, I'm now going to talk about the health issue. While the budget does make some commendable propositions as to the expansion and modernization of our healthcare infrastructure, yet such advanced state-of-the-art units can only be efficient with the right trained staff. Unfortunately, there is no budget earmarked for advanced training of healthcare personnel regularly abroad to update themselves and familiarize with the new technology emerging in the world of medicine, particularly in subspecialty areas. The unfortunate loss of 10 lives due to coronavirus can only be a stark reminder of the limitation of subspecialized medical services when it comes to intensive care. Mr. Speaker, sir, despite the tremendous and highly applauded effort and commitment of our doctors, specialists, nurses, physiotherapists managing the intubated patients, the desperate need of trained intensivists is a must. Et pour ceux de l'autre côté de la Chambre qui n'ont pas eu l'occasion, lisez l'interview du proche de cette jeune femme de 20 ans qui est décédée et vous allez ressentir la douleur de ses parents et ses proches. And governments must therefore invest heavily in training healthcare personnel in infectious disease control should we unfortunately be afflicted by a new epidemic in the future. The provision of satellite infectious disease unit in each regional hospital is a must due to the need and demand a multidisciplinary team at any time, and the proper setup of isolation units with negative pressure within each regional intensive care unit will complement the eventual forthcoming National Center for Infectious Disease, which I thank the Minister of Health for this project. Mr. Speaker, sir, government is spending millions of rupees on the treatment of patients abroad solely because of either the lack of medical expertise or therapeutic treatment, particularly in cancer patients. It is high time noting the huge budget allocated that consideration be given, firstly, to the local availability of these expensive therapeutic treatment. For example, Herceptin, which are needed by cancer patients and should be given to them irrespective of their social strata, status, or political abeyance. Secondly, the facility of advanced diagnostic and screening equipment in each regional hospital is a must, like PET scan. These two recommendations will go a long way to save millions of rupees. The construction of a new laboratory was long overdue, and I'm pleased it's part of the budget proposals. Mr. Speaker, sir, on a final note regarding health, the exams that the Medical Council has sent recent proposal to be registered, I note that the Minister of Health, and I quote from his speech 2 days ago, and I quote, "As for the medical registration examination, they will be conducted by an independent body of international repute on the behalf of the Medical Council." However, as a senior consultant and specialist myself, and all specialists in this country, we have all been sent a letter to participate, to set questions, and I quote, "The Council is intending to propose setting up of a Mauritian Medical Board of Examiners for the medical registration." Which is which? I hope the Minister of Health will come up and clarify this very confusing situation, because more confusion will deny the right of these young doctors to have a speedy registration. Mr. Speaker, sir, consumer protection. Slogan is one thing. The provision of it in real terms is different. Bringing down the 12 kilo of liquefied gas price for 210 rupees to 180 is surely, my friends on the other side of the House, not an excuse to be so upbeat and beating the table repeatedly, when knowing quite well of the fall of the price of liquefied gas on the international market for some time. Monsieur le Président, le ministre des Finances sait pertinemment bien que ces jours-ci, la réalité est très différente. Une baisse de 30 rupies sur le gaz ménager, contre une augmentation d'environ de 22% sur la plupart de nos denrées alimentaires, et la perte du pouvoir d'achat pour notre corbeille ménagère est très, très grave. À écouter le ministre du Commerce ce matin, il m'apparaît que nos ménagères n'ont ressenti aucune hausse de nos denrées alimentaires. et elles sont très, très, très satisfaites. Ils vivent sûrement dans un monde irréel. La réalité, je vous l'assure, est toute différente. Cette baisse de 30% sur le gaz ménager devient alors négligeable par rapport aux dépenses alimentaires nécessaires. Quand les pères de famille en déboursent plus pour leurs enfants le matin, parmi tant d'autres commodités, c'est très compréhensible de son agacement quand il apprend que des millions de roupies sont alloués à travers le MIC pour des projets peut-être non essentiels, peut-être même des éléphants blancs, que certains n'aiment pas entendre ce mot éléphant blanc. Projets que certains, avec des appétits gargantuesques, attendent avec impatience. Ce slogan va valoriser l'importance au bien-être et la protection des consommateurs ne tient pas la route avec comme unique commodité de gaz qui a baissé, surtout dans ce contexte extrêmement difficile. Monsieur le Président, je veux maintenant aborder un sujet qui a une très grande importance dans notre économie. Un sujet concernant la gestion de notre économie, c'est-à-dire le gaspillage des fonds publics ou, si on peut le dire diplomatiquement, la mauvaise gestion des fonds publics. Dans son grand oral, le ministre des Finances, la semaine dernière, n'a pipé mot sur là-dessus, mais non plus sur des actions concrètes qui peuvent être prises pour remédier la situation et aussi prendre des actions à tout niveau. Reprenant cette phrase de mon colistier pendant son discours, est-ce que le peuple peut vous faire confiance? Premièrement, le saga de la banque State Bank de Maurice. Comment se fait-il qu'un soi-disant billionnaire et propriétaire de LMH Holdings en termes d'éléments de santé puisse avoir un prêt faramineux de plusieurs millions de dollars, équivalent à des milliards de roupies, sans être inquiété et sans être soumis à un KYC, c'est-à-dire connaître votre client, détaillé, et disparaître au vu et au su de tout le monde dans le monde financier, en laissant un trou énorme dans les chiffres d'affaires de la SBM Holdings. Le Mauricien lambda, quant à lui, devra fournir toutes sortes de documents et subir un rigoureux KYC si jamais il y a un petit manquement, surtout au niveau de la MCIB, il se voit refuser son prêt dans la banque ou d'autres institutions financières. Il a toutes les raisons de ressentir qu'il y a une justice à deux vitesses. N'oublions pas l'épisode Goldfinger. N'oublions pas cette déconcertante facilité quand un ex-ministre de ce gouvernement se permet d'avoir un loan de ce même State Bank pour acheter de l'or, un filon qu'il a bien ressenti, contre une garantie minimale. Mais la disparité entre la demande et la garantie fait froisser. Alors, comment doivent réagir tous ces actionnaires de la State Bank de Maurice qui voient leur profit chuter de 2,5 milliards en 2017 pour se trouver à quelques 15 millions en 2019? N'oublions pas le fameux Angolais, qui lui aussi a passé pas trop fameux, s'est servi de nos institutions financières pour avoir des licences bancaires et investi avec de l'argent douteux dans le nord du pays. Et lui, étrangement, son KYC fut fait au regard des yeux. Le diagnostic était très mauvais. Heureusement pour notre sud-ophtalmologue, il n'a pas eu à faire place à des complaintes de négligence. Monsieur le Président, pour revenir à la petite leçon de notre ami de l'autre côté de la Chambre, l'honorable Sandra Mayotte, sur la définition du butin par le petit Larousse. Eh bien, ce qui s'est passé à la State Bank, c'est du très, très gros butin. Et j'ai pris le temps de consulter moi-même, cette fois-ci, le petit Robert. Lui, elle a consulté le Larousse, et moi, je consulte le petit Robert, et cela équivaut à un pillage des fonds. La récente nomination du nouveau patron du CCID me réjouit, car il avait le flair de ce fameux butin dont faisait référence l'honorable Mayotte, et j'espère qu'il s'envolera rapidement pour nous ramener, comme il l'avait fait en février 2015, Mano Militari, ce fameux monsieur BRS, dont le patron du CCID seul a l'expertise et j'espère retournera nos milliards. Monsieur le Président, deuxièmement, au niveau de mauvaise gestion des fonds, mettre du plomb dans les ailes des Air Mauritius. La largesse des paiements à certains cadres de Air Mauritius, occupant 2 portefeuilles, avoisinant des salaires mirobolants de 1,2 à 1,5 million par mois. L'achat irréfléchi d'avions en surplus, dont nous n'avons pas les ressources financières et les demandes de vol. La commercialisation des routes non profitables. La dépendance de leasing de 2 des appareils à la South African Airways, qui elle-même est dans de gros problèmes. La nomination de petits copains à des postes stratégiques, avec des salaires incroyables. Le recrutement de certains n'y ayant aucune expérience, sauf leur affiliation politique. Les démissions forcées des Chief Executive Officers, qui essayent de mettre de l'ordre et redresser la chute vertigineuse de notre transporteur national. Tout ça nous fait réfléchir. Tout ça ne donne pas confiance aux lambda mauriciens. J'espère que notre joyau national puisse retrouver ses couleurs d'antan et la tentation de la liquider soit résistée à tout niveau. Selon certaines langues récemment, on assiste même à un de ses protégés politiques, MS, négociant son butin avant qu'il puisse partir. On essaie toujours de plumer la poule déplumée. Monsieur le Président, troisièmement, le coût de certains projets n'ont pas aidé notre économie, car certains développements dont je reconnais leur utilité, oui, bien sûr, leurs utilités, mais n'étaient pas une nécessité absolue, surtout qu'on savait pertinemment bien l'état maladif de notre économie et on ne pouvait se faire de largesse. Je parle de cette largesse d'éléphant blanc de Côte d'Or à 5 milliards, le Safe City Project qui nous a coûté 16 milliards, le métro express qui coûte initialement prévu à 18 milliards, et dans ce budget qui va injecter encore 8 milliards. Quatrièmement, le rapport de l'audit 2019 qui démontre d'année après année les manquements en termes de gestion et de défense financière dans différents ministères. Je voudrais attirer l'attention du ministère de la Santé en particulier sur un appareil d'angiographie de l'hôpital d'Itou acheté à 30 millions de roupies. Laisse-moi vous rappeler qu'un appareil d'angiographie chez eux aussi n'est plus un appareil de luxe. Vu le nombre élevé des maladies non transmissibles, deux par qui il y a plus que 50% des maladies artérielles et cardiaques, la demande d'angiographie et l'appareil d'angiographie est aujourd'hui une nécessité absolue. L'attente de quelques minutes de trop dans ces circonstances, en se basant de l'intervention chirurgicale par angiographie, peut être fatale. Et imaginez ceux ou celles qui attendent des mois à cause des pannes techniques. Cela pourrait être n'importe qui d'entre nous qui s'assoit ici cet après-midi. Cet appareil qui tombe en panne répétitivement parce que la compagnie qui a eu le contrat n'a pas d'ingénieur local spécialisé pour faire la réparation en temps réel et reste hors de service pendant des mois. En conséquence, la liste d'attente s'allonge et le plus grand perdant sont nos patients mauriciens. Certains qui attendent ne sont même plus là. I therefore request the Minister to set up a very tight and stringent conditions when contracts are given to these companies, we are talking hundreds of millions of rupees, and that it becomes mandatory for them to have local trained engineer before they are allocated the contract for the supply and commissioning of such high-tech equipment. Tax money is the people's money. It is their right to have proper functioning equipment at all times in hospital with specialized maintenance backup. The Minister of Finance must ensure that exemplary sanctions are taken at all levels, be it senior officials working at banks who falter, senior executive in the government, board of directors of companies, directors of procurement unit, or even the Central Tender Board, those responsible must be accountable and should not get away thinly. To conclude, Mr. Speaker, sir, the coronavirus has definitely brought its focus on our interdependence. We need each other. The Chief Executive Officer is nothing without the factory worker, the driver, the nurse, the refuse collector, the utility workers, the supermarket staff, among so many. An injury to one is an injury to all. I make an appeal that all our frontliners, irrespective of departments, public or private, must be rewarded and this is done for police and public healthcare personnel. We will never be able to thank them enough. May God spare us from a second wave of the epidemic. Thank you.